Hello and welcome to the Buckets and Tea NBA show. I'm your host, Cathryn Naiker. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's episode. Listen, joining me, you know him, you love him. I called him a veteran once and he got a little upset about it, but it's okay. It's Vivek Jacob. You're
man.
like veteran journalist, question mark. And I was like, I don't know, man. You seem to be doing a lot for a while.
You know, it actually tripped me up because I went to cover a Scarborough Shooting Stars game. It was like their first game. This was like the whole J. Cole joining the team and all of that hype. And there's this guy who now works for Sportsnet. His name is Armin Zargarian, I believe. And he came over to me after the scrum was over and he was like, "Hey man, can we get a picture? I've been reading you like through like as I grew up." And I was like, how old am I?
I've been reading you since I grew like, oh wow.
I was like, what just happened?
That's trippy.
Yeah, so that was
but also how old was he? Like he must have been like 20 maybe.
Yeah, maybe
19. Like he was probably still somewhat of a kid in his own right.
But good for him. I think he's working with on the radio side.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So he's made
Oh, that's so great. He's been a Raptors media nerd. And now he is Raptors media. See, this is how it works. Yeah, that's very, very cool. We have so much to talk about today because this summer's been insane. I have not been the most consistent with my episodes. I apologize, everyone. And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching on YouTube. You'll notice I'm not wearing glasses. That's because my dog ate them. That's just the kind of week and the kind of summer it's been so far. So last time I was on 2 weeks ago, we had Katie Heindel. Literally the next day or the day this episode came out, Masai was let go. So there's like literally so much to cover, but we're going to do NBA first. Then we're going to talk about Masai. Promise you, we will get into that. I'm so happy
that we've brought My Dog Ate My Homework to
this podcast.
Yeah.
She literally, listen, I could show you if you want how mangled. You know what? I will. Give me 1 second. Love this for podcasting. This is a reason to come to YouTube. Okay. I'm going to show you how mangled.
Yeah. We are about to see just how mangled these glasses are. My dog ate my homework, and then my dog ate my glasses.
And then here. So first
Cathryn
of all,
is making her way back.
Here's a lens. Okay, that's like completely out of the glasses.
Oh boy.
This doesn't even like close properly anymore. Like it's like all high up. She scratched the lenses, so I can't even like pop the lenses back into the frame because there's like teeth marks on them now. I mean, they are completely destroyed.
That's no fun. I was in the
shower. I was in the shower. She
nothing
grabbed
you could
my
do.
Glasses. No, just living life. And then as I'm shopping for glasses, they're all like, "Oh, that's so common." Every store, they were like, "Oh, that happens all the time." Dogs eating glasses, and I was like, "Wish I knew that. Wish that came up in Google AI." Researched for months. No one told me they ate glasses. Anyway. Right.
Segue that into the NBA.
Listen to an audio book about dog training. No one said anything about chewing dogs. Trust me, I will segue. I will just hard pivot here. Okay, so there's been a lot of movement this offseason, obviously. I think we anticipated a lot of movement, but there's actually been quite a bit. And I kind of phrase this to you like if it's been chaotic good or if it's been chaotic bad. And so I want to know from your perspective, what do you think, like which team do you feel has made like the best moves this offseason? And then we'll talk about which teams have either made bad moves or have just kind of made a lot of sideways moves and stuck in, mediocrity, 8th in the East or West respectively type moves.
Okay, so starting with best moves, I think I lean towards the Denver Nuggets. I think to trade Michael Porter Jr. for Cam Johnson. I think Johnson gives them pretty much the same things offensively, but is a better defender. And I
Mhm.
think overall just has a better basketball IQ. So I think he's going to love playing with Jokic. And I think the fit there is going to be awesome. But on top of that, because of the contracts, it allowed them to go out and get, Bruce Brown Jr. and Jonas Valanciunas and Tim Hardaway Jr. And so I think all of that, like they've addressed so much of their issues. Probably the only thing you'd look at right now and say is they're missing a backup point guard. But I think they've addressed so much of what they needed to the point where right now I would actually put them ahead of the Thunder as my favorites to win the title next season.
Ooh, I love it. We should talk a little bit about JV because there's all this talk about him possibly leaving the NBA to play in Greece. I apologize, I forget the name of the Greece team that was actively recruiting him. It's like a really long classic Greek name, but and I don't know exactly what they were offering. That's the thing too. I don't know if like there was a number that became public because I was like, is this about JV wanting to leave the NBA or were they simply offering him more money? He'd obviously be one of the best, if not the best players on his team, which would be exciting. But he has to fulfill his contractual obligations in the NBA. The Denver Nuggets are not letting him out of his contract. So it seems like that situation has settled and that he is staying with the Nuggets. I mean, personally, and maybe somewhat selfishly, I'm really excited to see him with the Nuggets because I'm really excited to see JV with a contender. And, a legitimate backup big is something that the Nuggets have really needed for some time now. And it's going to really help Jokic have some more rest during games. I mean, we'll see how many minutes JV gets in the playoffs. I mean, I'm hoping he is a legit contributor in the playoffs because I've been wanting him to be on a winning team, frankly, ever since he left the Raptors. I mean, it's just he's been hopping around quite a bit here on teams that you thought would do well, and then they didn't do well, with Memphis and then with New Orleans and then with Sacramento. My Raptors loyal heart really wants this guy to A, stay in the league and B, just crush it, just demolish it. I mean, he's a different type of player than Jokic. I mean, I think a lot of his criticism has been about, kind of clogging the paint a bit, but I don't know. Like, just because he's a traditional center doesn't mean he doesn't have a lot to offer. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah. So JV was offered, I believe, based on reports, a 3-year deal worth 15 million euros. So that's
Mm,
total. So 5 million euros per season. But obviously, the team was Panathinaikos.
thank you.
And so the incentive for him, like obviously, the tax ramifications are different in Europe, and these European teams have a way of also bumping up the deal values by giving promises of houses and yachts and all those kinds of things. So that may have played a part in it too. Maybe he wanted to be closer to home, and I feel like the other factor which Denver helped him out with in convincing him to stay is the second year of his deal. So the 26-27 year was non-guaranteed. And so
Okay.
based on the reports, they've guaranteed it to give him that incentive to stay. And so now, based on the reporting, that's what's kind of flipped his mind and convinced him to stay. At the end of the day, as you said, he has an obligation to fulfill because he's under contract for this season, and he'd only be able to leave if the Denver Nuggets let him off the hook. And good for him for playing hardball and getting the guarantee on
Mm-hmm.
that second year, but also good for the Nuggets because I think they realize, people on the outside might say, okay, like, JV hasn't been super impactful the last few years. Why are you fighting so hard to keep him, that type of thing? Well, as you said, Jokic has been playing crazy minutes. His load during the regular season has been, way too much, especially, with injuries to Jamal and Aaron Gordon last season. He had to take on way too much. Now you get a legitimate backup center who can start on occasion if you want to give Jokic a bit of a break. He can play, up to say 20 minutes a game and really lighten the load on Jokic and have him as fresh as possible for the playoffs, which is what you want. And then, hey, if at that stage if JV goes down to like 10 minutes a game, that's fine. You want Jokic at his freshest for those games, and that's the goal. And that's why I think they've been so adamant about keeping him, and I'm glad it worked out because I do think that was an important piece in, viewing the Nuggets the way I do view them now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And it's funny because I can see it from like for JV, like I see it from both sides. It's like, oh, would you rather be in Denver or in Greece with a yacht and a house? It's like, what can, like, listen, it's like Denver's like, look, we don't have the olive oil, we don't have the beaches, we can offer you a hike at best. You know what I mean? They're like, we can offer you a hike in the mountains, but blah, 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 blah. And I think, yeah, he's got to do it. I really hope he embraces the opportunity to be on a contender. I think he will. Like, he's always been nothing but a professional. I completely agree. I'm so excited for this Denver team. The other team that I think has made a good move this offseason that I'd like to talk about, another former Raptor, is Norm Powell, who is now on the Miami Heat. And it's kind of like surprising but not surprising that the Clippers didn't want to pay him. I feel like Norm keeps moving because these teams don't want to, quote, pay him. But last year he had an all-star caliber season. Now he's in the Eastern Conference, which obviously there's a massive opportunity in the East because it's significantly weaker. And now we have major players that have gone down and the East is wide open. And I think Miami's looking at this like, why do we have to fold and rebuild now? Obviously Norm isn't Jimmy Butler, but he's more Jimmy Butler than Andrew Wiggins is. You know what I mean? And like, I'm looking at, I respectfully, right? Like, I mean, I'm looking at Norm Powell, like he could be an Eastern Conference All-Star, right? Like he's not going to be an All-Star in the West because the West is too packed, but like he could be. Like if he puts up really big numbers early in the season, we're going to be talking about Norm Powell for All-Star. We will be. Like, I mean, I don't know if he'll get it, but he'll get the hype at least from the Miami machine. He needs a Matt Devlin that just says like Powell All-Star, like every time he hits a bucket, and just like wills it into existence.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is like a major offensive weapon for that team. And I think like, I mean, I'm not saying they're going to like win it all, but I think they're going to be interesting and they're going to have something to say in the Eastern Conference this season, but we'll see. When I say something to say, I mean between 6 and 8, maybe in the East.
Oh yeah. I think that's for sure in play. I think, so they've got Tyler Herro, Andrew Wiggins, Norman Powell, Bam Adebayo, and Khalil Ware had showed some promise last season.
And apparently they're going after Kuminga, who has a restricted free agent situation right now. And I don't know. Like obviously Steve Kerr doesn't like the guy. You know what I mean? Like it's just like I don't know why they haven't moved on from him yet. But
Andrew Wiggins back to the Warriors.
Yeah, literally. I mean, they wanted Kuminga in the first place. They didn't trade him. They're like, no, we got to hold on to Kuminga. Then they don't play him during the playoffs until Steph goes down. And I was like, what is the point in any of this, Golden State? I mean, anyway, that's a whole other tangent. I just really like the move for Miami to get Norman Powell. It was a multi-team deal. They didn't really have to give up much at all in order to make this happen. It's a huge boost for them. And because the Eastern Conference is so weak, it's like Miami is suddenly a team to take notice of again.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Miami, you're giving up Kyle Anderson and Kevin Love to get a player who can average 20 a game. Like, you take that.
Right. And Kevin Love, who knows if he'll play in Utah. Like, I imagine they'll wait.
I have my doubts.
Yeah, I don't think he'll end up playing there.
I think both might be off the roster before the season starts.
Right.
Him and Kyle Anderson. For the Clippers, I think it's a good move for them to get that front court help in John Collins. I think now having John Collins in there, Brooke Lopez in there, I actually like their offseason too. I like it a
How do you like
little.
about them possibly signing Bradley Beal?
Yeah,
If
I was
Bradley
just gonna
Beal gets
say I like it a
waived,
little less
yeah.
if that's what happens, because I do think, if you're getting rid of Norman Powell potentially, if it's beyond the contract, if you're getting rid of him for defensive reasons, then I'm not sure how much Bradley Beal is a change of direction. So yeah, I do like the Clippers offseason. I'm kind of wait and see on Miami just because a defensive backcourt of Tyler Hero and Norman Powell does concern me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's some issues there, but beyond them, I mean, I think Houston
Like
would
you
be
mean
the
like
obvious choice.
defensive issues? You mean?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
think you're gonna have a lot of teams attacking
legit.
Hero and Powell at every opportunity.
That's fair. I just think, maybe I'm too low on the Eastern Conference this year that I'm just like, it won't matter. It'll
No,
only matter half the time.
no, I think they absolutely should be in the mix for somewhere between 6 and 8. Because I
Where
think
like we thought they would be completely rebuilding is what I'm saying. It's like,
possibly, yeah, possibly, yeah. Uh, right now, there's only like a firm top two, I feel, for the East, which is Cleveland and New York. I think those are the
mhm.
only teams that we really feel certain about. I think Orlando should be the third seed, and then
And I'm blanking, hasn't Atlanta had a good off season? Like people are talking about Atlanta again.
yeah,
But
Atlanta
I
had
could be
so
wrong about that.
they've no, they've had a good off season. I think they will be, somewhere. They should be fourth or fifth, and
Mhm.
possibly fourth. Uh, so in terms of their off season, they got Porzingis. That was the big get
God, that's
for them.
I just can't stand him. It's fine. I the thing is, I really liked Trey Young from a pure entertainment perspective, right? Like when they had
Yeah,
that run, it was 2021 now, like so long ago that they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and he just had that like gladiator, like, are you not entertained kind of energy, and I
yeah,
love that, and I want to see
yeah,
that again. So
yeah,
that's why I'm like, okay, I'm noticing that the Hawks have done something here.
yeah.
A team that I'm confused about and I don't think has necessarily had a good offseason.
Oh,
Maybe
just quickly,
oh please,
the
yeah.
the Hawks also got Nikhil Alexander Walker. That was the other big get for them.
Ah,
Yeah, show a little Canadian love.
yeah.
Um,
I assume he'd be a
so
backup though.
yeah, he will be a backup because Trey Young and Dyson Daniels will be the starting backcourt.
But he's a
And
great backup.
yeah, so he's going to be really good for them off the bench. And then Jalen Johnson was injured last season. He's really good, so he'll be back in the mix. I don't know what their starting five will be. So they've got good depth. They've got really good players. I think 1 through 8. And so I just don't know which way they'll lean with their starting five because obviously, you bring in Porzingis, you expect him to start. You've got Trey Young, you've got Dyson Daniels. They will start. Jalen Johnson will start. So that fifth guy will be between, Zachary Risochet, Onyeka Okongwu, if they want to go bigger.
I mean, I
Between
wonder
those two, it'll be interesting how they
if
go.
if Quinn Snyder's going to be like that experimental type coach that like is always throwing out different lineups to see what sticks. Like I don't know if he's that type of
Yeah,
coach because I feel like that's become trendier in more recent years to be like that.
right.
But we'll see. Okay, in terms of teams that I'm really confused by, I don't think have had a good offseason. It's possible you might disagree with this pick here, but I'm going with the Milwaukee Bucks. So
Oh, yeah.
here's the thing. So they waived Damian Lillard in a move that shocked many because he's just a certain level of player that you don't typically see waived. But I think it started a trend. I think because Damian Lillard got waived, suddenly the Phoenix Suns were like, "Oh, maybe we can waive Bradley Beal. Oh, why didn't we think of that?" Anyway, but they waive him. They create some space. They sign Miles Turner away from the Pacers, which also surprised people because he's been a Pacers lifer essentially. Which that part of it is a good move in that they needed to do something to replace Brook Lopez. And at this stage of his career, he's a better player than Brook Lopez and more versatile. However, they have yet to replace Damian Lillard. How are you going to replace all of those points? Like that is a massive amount of offense that you have no answer for. And I get that, like, I just look, he was going to be out for the year. We know this. But still, it's like what you've done in terms of like letting him go, and then the move you chose to make with the little room that you had really doesn't answer that question. And I don't know what this team is going to do to find an extra 25 points a game. I'm assuming he averages around 25 points a game. I don't know how many assists he had, but still, I mean, we're talking about 25 points and anywhere from 2 to 5 assists a game, I'm assuming. Oh my God, tell me if I'm right or wrong. Thank you, Vivek.
No, I mean you're pretty much on the nose. Damian Lillard last season, 25 points, 7.1 assists. So
more assists than I thought. More assists. I mean, that's a lot. That is such a massive deficit that you have A, no answer for, and then B, no financial room to find an answer. And I just think like all this Giannis noise, we're going to get into happy, unhappy all-star, so I don't want to jump on that too much. But like all of that talk is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger because the NBA media cycle is just so vicious. It's so vicious and relentless and constant. So yeah, that's the team where I'm like, man, I don't know what you're gonna do.
yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense what they did. I mean, it makes sense from the standpoint of, hey, we're doing everything we can to keep Giannis, but there's no path to contention with Giannis. Like, I don't see how Giannis reasonably looks at this team and says, yes, I can win a championship. And so, you know, they can go to him and say, hey, look at the East this season. Like, we can, even with this patchwork, like, you're so great that maybe we can come out of the East. But you're not beating anyone out in the West. That's for sure. Like, and you're still not better than New York. You're still not better than Cleveland. Orlando's probably better than you right now. And so I just think it's asking a lot. And it's almost like emotional blackmail. Like, look at how far we went to try and keep you happy. You know, like we waived Damian Lillard and we did all this to just get you Miles Turner, who obviously at this stage of his career, you'd say is an upgrade on Brook Lopez. But it's not enough. Like, there's no way you're in contention for a title. And like, honestly, if I was Giannis and they called me and told me that they were about to do this, I'd be like, you know what, guys, it's not worth it. Like, you're shooting yourselves in the foot. This franchise is like, you're going to be in such a deep hole because now that, because you've waived and stretched Damian Lillard, like that's 20 million that's going to be on your cap for the next 5 years. And you're just stuck with it. This dead money that you can't do anything about. So what is the path to contention beyond next season? And so, yeah, like, I think it is kind of emotional blackmail, and they're kind of forcing Giannis's hand to actually come out and say, I want to be traded. And I think he has just got to look out for himself and not be, you know, so like, I think he is just overly loyal at this point if he chooses to like stick through this.
Well, that's interesting. I will also offer that I think Giannis has been putting a certain level of pressure on this team for a long time, right? Like they signed Damian Lillard to keep him happy, right? And so on and so on. And I wonder, it's like, it's a tension that's happening from both sides, right? So it's like, I love the emotional blackmail point, but I also think that maybe there's been a little bit of emotional manipulation the other way as well. It's like, if you don't do this, I might leave. Okay, Giannis, we're so sorry. We're gonna move mountains for you. And then they move those mountains. And then it's like, okay, well, that didn't work. So I guess you're just gonna have to, I don't know, move more mountains, I guess, And he has this like, oh, I'm such a nice guy. Look at my dad jokes and blah blah blah. And then I just feel like he's gotta have this dark side, when the cameras aren't there, and he's just like cussing everyone out and just being like, if you don't make me happy, I'm gone, kind of thing. And I feel like they have been feeling the weight of this pressure for years. And it feels like all of this is going to come to a head soon. If it doesn't this summer, it really feels like it's going to come to a head soon.
Yeah, I think for me, from Giannis's side, it is more of like a healthy pressure where it's like you have a top 3 player in the league at worst.
Yes.
Like on his best day, he's the best player in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to do everything to maximize that window.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think as a player, when you are that caliber, like look at what LeBron James has done over the course of his career, right? I think when you are at that level, you can demand a certain level of accountability from the front office and saying, hey, I'm a 10. I need a roster that.
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting. It would be like if LeBron won a championship with Cleveland the first time he was there, and
Yeah.
then they floundered for years, and then so much of his legacy is like on the line, and he has to leave. That would have been even more controversial, frankly, especially back then.
I think that would have been less. Because
Really?
I think part of the frustration was that, it's like, oh, you went to the finals. And I think even on some level, people would have been willing to accept it without the whole decision being aired on television and all of that. Like, I think if he would have just been straight
They
up
burned
like, hey,
that man's
like,
jerseys in the streets.
Yeah. And I think if he would have just been, and obviously he was super young at the time still.
Yes.
Because he came in out of high school. And I just, don't think he had the right people around him to make that decision, to do the decision. And I think if he would have just been straight up about it, where it was like, hey, like, I just dragged Sasha Pavlovich and Zydrunas Ilgauskas and Anderson Varejao and Daniel Boobie Gibson to the NBA Finals. Like, I've been waiting for this team, to get better around me, and it hasn't. And it's like I gave 7 good years waiting for a serious all-star to play next to me. The best player I got to play with in Cleveland that first time around was what, Mo Williams, Larry Hughes, right? That's what they put around me. Like, I think if he would have just been straight up about that, then, I think Cavs fans, it would have hurt. It would have still hurt to lose a player like that, lose someone who is literally from the state.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it would have been understood. And I think that's why when he left the second time, it was understood and he got the standing ovation and all of that, right? He delivered on that promise of coming back and wanting to win a title, and he got that title. That's true. I think in Giannis's case, the reason why I think he needs to recognize that it's okay for him to leave is because he's delivered on his promise. And he brought them a title. He has been, he's achieved.
I mean, I don't even know who's left on the roster from that team, from that championship team. It seems like everyone's gone.
Drew Holiday's gone. Chris Middleton is gone. Brooke Lopez is gone. Bobby Portis is there.
Right.
I guess technically Pat Connaughton is still there.
Yeah.
Wait,
just not
did they
same.
trade Pat Connaughton? I feel like a Pat Connaughton trade happened. I'm gonna quickly look this up. They did. They traded him
Oh,
to the Charlotte
Hornets.
Hornets for two
Wow.
second-round
They
picks.
traded Chris Middleton to Washington. I mean, it's basically the middle of nowhere as far as like NBA basketball is concerned.
Yeah. So I just feel like it's done. And I think when he looks at the landscape, yeah, on the one hand, he can say, I have a good life in Milwaukee and it's just easy to be here where, I've kind of started my family and I can just continue life as is, as I know it. But if he wants to win more championships, that's not going to happen in Milwaukee.
It's time. It's sad, but it's true. It's time. I mean, I think too, with that being said, it makes sense for him to try and stay in the Eastern Conference. I don't know to
Yeah.
who or for what, but we
Yeah.
can't. If Giannis goes to the Western Conference, they really do need to just abolish the conferences already. I mean, I've been saying that every year for years, but if that happens, it's like the Eastern Conference will be such a joke. Such a joke.
Yeah. I mean, I think San Antonio is ready and waiting.
Oh yeah, there's a few teams that are going to be vying for that. Or if they're like, "Oh, we're going to move, we're going to expand. Oh, Vegas is going to have a team. Congratulations. Now one team gets to move to the Eastern Conference." Listen, Memphis, Minnesota, San Antonio are going to
New
be
Orleans.
New Orleans are going to be doing all they can. All they can to become part of that Eastern Conference. Oh my goodness. Crazy. Anyway, that's the kind of drama I want to see. Did you have a team that you're like, oh, they really fumbled the bag this offseason?
So I was with you that Milwaukee fumbled the bag. I think to a lesser extent, I would put Indiana in that mix, just because you've had this guy Miles Turner who has been with the franchise since he was drafted. He's been there for a decade. You tried to lowball him because you didn't think that anyone else could actually take him away from you. And then Milwaukee did a crazy thing and took him away from you.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden you're stuck. Like, yeah, you were basically cheap. You could have sucked it up for 1 year and had Tyrese back and, been right back in title contention. Now you've lost a huge piece of your championship puzzle. And
Yeah.
you might not be back in that mix for a very long time now. So I think to a lesser extent there and there, if I'm looking down the list of teams, the team that...
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say the team that might have fumbled the bag a bit would also be the Los Angeles Lakers. Like you did this deadline day deal for Dorian Finney-Smith, and then you lose him in free agency. So you took this rental that you thought was an important piece of the puzzle because of his defense and his three-point shooting. And now he's gone to Houston and he's going to make them better. And
apparently he was one of Luka's favorite teammates.
Yeah. Denver quietly stacking up Luka's favorite assistant coaches, by the way.
That would be amazing if they were on the same team. I would love for that.
And yeah, and they already have his favorite teammate. So
yeah.
I think... Oh, so the other thing I was going to say about the Lakers was they canceled the Mark Williams trade because they thought they could get a better center in the summer. I mean, the reason advertised is the concerns about Mark Williams' health. I think ultimately they probably just felt that they could do better in the summer. And now they have DeAndre Ayton, who, when you look at the defense on the Lakers, that is not going to help them one bit.
Yeah, I mean, they were right in that DeAndre Ayton was the best quote unquote center available. except for the one you literally traded for Luka, but that's another thing. I mean, yeah, best available doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, now you're a contender, you know? But I completely
Did you
agree
see
with
Chris
you.
Haynes' tweet? That
No,
had to be the most shameless tweet of the
because
summer.
he's a Portland local, so he's got the scoop there. What did he say?
He was all like, the Lakers now have the number 2 and number 3 pick from the 2021 draft, that Ayton and Luka win, and they future building blocks for the Lakers are in place. It's like,
Oh boy. No,
come
that's
on,
a
buddy.
suck up tweet. I don't like that at all. But I think you make a great point bringing up the Pacers and the Lakers, because this is something I've been thinking about. This is maybe a bit of a broader topic, but related to what we're discussing here. And that is the fact that this new CBA, I personally think, is absolutely horrible for the league. And I know, like, Adam Silver's intentions were to try and even the quote unquote playing field between smaller market teams and larger market teams. But the way I see it is, it's like you look at Golden State, you know, one of the most lucrative franchises in all of sports. They were not that before Steph Curry. I don't even think Golden State was considered a large market team before Steph Curry, like at all. But then they got what they realized was a generational talent. They built around him, they spent money, and then they made that money back and then some. And I really feel like, you know, all these rules to quote unquote level the playing field, I think does nothing. It's like we are looking at billionaires, literal billionaires, choosing to be cheap. And there is nothing more infuriating than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if Golden State chose to be cheap and they didn't pay Klay Thompson and Draymond Green when they were younger. I'm not talking about in the last 2 years, but when they were younger, that would have been a complete and utter disaster for that franchise. It would have been a disaster for Steph and his career, and maybe he wouldn't be a Golden State Warrior today. You know, and you think about the influx of money. They got a new stadium out of it. They moved from Oakland to San Francisco. Like, they've got all these other tech people who have season tickets and blah blah blah. I mean, none of that happens if those billionaires choose to be cheap in the earlier stages of his career. So it's that is the most frustrating part. And so for Adam Silver to be like, "Oh no, we got to put on these caps on these teams. You got to get rid of the luxury tax. We have to put in other penalties. They got to lose future draft picks, this, that, and the other." It doesn't change anything, because there's no reason for the Lakers to be cheap. There's no reason for them to not want to re-sign Dorian Finney-Smith when they just got a $10 billion valuation. $10 billion, and you're not going to sign this guy. It doesn't make sense, because and it just frustrates me, and it puts like a bit of a sourness on this era of the NBA, frankly, for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think
That was a bit of a
it's
tangent, I know.
no, I think it's a fair place to go because of the way things are playing out. I think the second apron is just bad for the league. I think it's a bad
Yes,
CBA agreement. I think it needs to go as soon
completely
as
away.
possible.
Yes.
Uh, and I hate what it's doing to teams. Like, as much as I dislike the Boston Celtics, the fact that one injury and they have to, just trade Holiday and Porzingis and be like,
Yeah, it's
okay, we
ridiculous.
just have to save the money now. It's crazy. And the one thing I will go back to with Steph Curry was the Warriors got super lucky. The Warriors
Of
got
course.
super lucky because Steph Curry had serious ankle issues through the first.
Drafted at number 7.
Yeah, and so because of the ankle issues, right? We didn't know Steph Curry to be Steph Curry yet, and so his first rookie extension was 4 years, 44 million,
Mhm.
because no one knew what he was gonna be.
Mhm.
Like, imagine that. You think about the fact that Jalen Williams just signed his rookie extension today, 4 years, 250 million guaranteed.
The comparison is laughable, but it's true.
uh, And I think it's just got into a place like that's why you have a bunch of these owners looking to sell, right? I think they've seen that they have pretty much maxed out on their earning potential with these teams, and they're looking to cash out now before they have to pay these crazy tax penalties. And
Mm-hmm.
if there's someone who's trying to get in, then they're just going to have to come in and deal with it and hope that at the next CBA meeting that they get rid of the second apron and ease some of this stuff. Because I think initially they were trying to make the case that, oh, look, it's giving all these small market teams a chance. Look what the Indiana Pacers just had to do.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And it's just, so it's not giving them a chance.
So
It's I agree. This whole second apron BS needs to go. It really needs to go. And
yeah. Now,
yeah, go ahead.
the one quick thing I will say is the Pacers weren't facing the second apron, so it still is, for in their case it is, ownership really being cheap. They haven't paid the tax in 20 years. You'd think if there was one season they'd be willing to do it. It's after they just went to the freaking finals.
To a game 7 of the finals.
Yeah.
And could have won if it wasn't for a devastating injury. Like, they were in that game. So frustrating. So frustrating.
Now to be in this position where they're saying, and the other thing that annoys me is it wasn't just the Halliburton fit with Miles Turner. It was the Siakam fit with Miles Turner too. Like, he was such a big piece in their equation. And yeah, he has his flaws. He's not a great rebounder. He's not great with his hands inside. But just what he provided in terms of the spacing, the shot blocking, for what that team needed, he was such a good fit. And you've lost this piece really for no good reason.
Yeah, completely agree. I think we kind of covered our unhappy superstars in this section, which was brilliant. So let's move on to a Raptors Homer moment, and let's talk about Masai. I mean, I'm like, listen, my phone's with Fido. Okay, it just is. Don't be mad. Do I cancel now? Like, do I move on to? I mean, to me, Rogers, Bell, they're both. They both are what they are. I don't know if I can. Anyway, they both are what they are. But I'm like, do I? Does Telus offer me something now? You know what I mean? Like, that's the level of emotion I felt when this happened. I was just ready to cancel my services. I think now the dust has settled a bit. We've seen Masai being very public with Giants of Africa. He praised how much he loves Toronto. Toronto's always going to be with him. Now I'm kind of like, what does this team do moving forward? Who is even in contention to possibly replace him, aside from Bobby Webster, who's an obvious candidate? What kind of direction do you think the team's going to go in, or what kind of direction do you either think or sense that they're actually going to go in?
So, first off, they're going to look for someone who costs less than 15 million US, because that's what they were paying Masai.
Cheap billionaires. I'm sorry. There's no salary cap on the front office.
Yeah. So
there's no second apron on the front office. Just saying.
It's true. So they obviously didn't want to pay him. So I can't imagine that someone like, say, a Bob Myers is in the mix, because
right. He would be expensive.
Yeah, exactly. He'd be expensive.
Phenomenal though if we got Bob Myers. Big fan. Former Golden State executive, for anyone who doesn't know.
Exactly. I think a name that might be in the mix for the Raptors, who could be a solid choice from a fan perspective, and I could see being a very like appealing choice from an MLSE perspective, because he'd check boxes for the fans, but he'd also check boxes for them, is Mark Eversley, who is currently the GM of the Chicago Bulls. And as we know, the Chicago Bulls ownership is pretty stingy, and it's like, oh, MLSE, look, we can get a guy who knows how to operate under that.
But do we want someone from the Chicago Bulls in recent years?
Well, this is the
I'm just
thing.
saying.
It's so that's the MLSE side of it. From a fan perspective, this is someone who worked for the Raptors prior. So he has experience with the organization. He's from Brampton. He is
Okay.
on the Canada basketball board. So he has ties to Canada. He was like the biggest influence in the Raptors drafting DeMar DeRozan.
Okay.
And
I
so
see
I
it
do
now.
think
You're painting a picture. I see it.
and so I think the ties are there. And so I think he checks boxes on both sides. Beyond that, I don't know. I feel like there's been some stuff about Alex Saratzis, who is Giannis's agent. And so, you know, I feel like if the Raptors had any kind of play on Giannis, they would have just kept Masai Ujiri.
Truly.
Yeah. And yeah, so beyond that, I'm not sure what the options are. I saw Michael Grange in his report suggest Dwayne Casey.
No.
Can you imagine Dwayne Casey being the one to take Masai's job?
After being fired after winning Coach of the Year, his suits
Yeah.
just get even baggier and he just like struts in.
Oh, so
No, I don't. I mean, look, he did a terrible job, in my opinion, in the front office with Detroit, right? Like he coached Detroit, then he moved to a front office role, and then he hired Monty Williams to that ginormous contract, and he was just one of the worst coaching hires I've ever seen in all my years of watching basketball. So that is why I'm really hesitant with something like that. Like he was just like, it just felt like, oh, I'm just gonna pay my friend a lot of money and he's gonna come here and do jack shit and just bring the morale of this entire franchise to an all-time low. And then we're gonna have to buy him out and then pray someone comes here and gives a shit. Which
yeah.
fortunately for them that happened. But like, my God, it was a depressing year in Detroit after that happened. So no, I respectfully don't want to see Dwayne Casey in that role.
Yeah. So
Um
the most likely candidate would be Bobby Webster. That they go
yeah, I mean
internal
to me
and
it
they
seems
say,
very logical that it would be Bobby, and I think that would satisfy the fan base to a certain extent. I mean, I will say, like, obviously the past few years for the Raptors have been a bit rough, a bit confusing. You know, there's been a lot of questions about the direction this team is going in. Are we rebuilding? Are we not rebuilding? You know, a lot of questionable. I mean, even like with our drafting, like I do think our team is really good at drafting, but also it's like, okay, we've just drafted someone who like isn't known for their offense, and like that's literally what we need right now. Things like that. So I mean, like I was shocked, but I was also like, I get that it's hard to pay someone when things have been frustrating. I do still think Masai is one of the better basketball minds we have.
mm-hmm.
It's not a move I would have made. I would have just paid the guy because I'm a billionaire. So who cares?
Yeah. No, I think it's
What
fair
do
to
I know about money?
criticize.
I'm just like, I'm a billionaire. I'll pay Masai.
Yeah, I would have paid him whatever it took, because this is I made this point in my Raptors in 7 Substack where I think it's fair to criticize the way the last few years have gone for the Raptors, but at the same time, I think you also have to recognize the fact that Masai has made mistakes before, and so look at how he responded to those mistakes and failures. Like when the Bruno Caboclo pick failed, he literally went out and built the Raptors 905, and look at how that turned out for the organization. When the Raptors got swept by the Wizards and in 2015, and he had to move on from that, he got rid of Lou Williams and other players, and he brought in Corey Joseph and Bismack Biyombo, and he was like, okay, this team needs to be tougher, right? And next
Yeah.
year they go to the conference finals, right? That was a big improvement. And then all of a sudden, even, going to the conference finals wasn't enough. And you're going up against LeBron, and it's like you fail again and again. and then he turns that into a championship. So it's not like this was the first time Masai failed. Maybe it was, a longer stretch of failure than we've been accustomed to. And I think some of that just had to do straight up with having to move to Tampa for a year and not being able to transition from a championship team the way he
I always
liked.
hated that it was even Tampa out of all places too, but that's fine.
So for me, I give like that 1-2 year stretch a complete pass because there were things that they had in place had the team remained in Toronto, and then had to change course.
Yeah. And a lot of things become mistakes only in hindsight. You're not necessarily being like, oh, that was a terrible move when it first happens. It's only like a year or two later that you're like, actually, that didn't work out. So, and the one move that everyone did criticize a lot, probably myself included, was the Jakob signing. And then that move actually ended up being really good for this team. So anyway, it's a lot of hindsight. I'm not going to sit here and ever pretend I know how to do his job. I think it's regrettable that they chose to do this. We talked about the Lakers earlier, and I was thinking about this before Masai got let go. And that was like the one team that could really offer Masai something more than what he has here is the Lakers. Because the Buss family has chosen to sell a majority stake in the team, right, to the owners of the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's a $10 billion valuation. I think the actual number is more like $6 billion in total. So the Buss family has a minority stake. People are saying that Jeannie Buss is going to eventually step down as president of the team. So then that is a role that becomes open. That is a vacant position that I absolutely think Masai will be scouted for. And they are not going to be cheap in terms of, we'll see. They were with Dorian Finney-Smith, but like I said, there's no cap on the front office. There's no cap rules on the front office. And I feel like if they can get someone like Masai to build around someone like Luka, I feel like that's actually somewhere he could go if he chooses to stay in the NBA. But I feel like Masai, Bob Myers, like when Jeannie Buss does decide to step down, like those are the people they're going to go after. And I imagine she's sticking around for now to be part of a transitional period between these two corporations.
Yeah.
So
no
that
question
is
about
absolutely something to look out for.
Yeah, I think absolutely the Lakers would be in the mix if and when Jeannie Buss decides to move on. He's been linked with the Hawks in the past, so I think that's another spot that he might consider. I believe the Washington Wizards have tried to get him in the past. Obviously,
he can't go to those cities. I'm sorry, they're just not better than us.
Well, at the same time, I don't know how much of a desire he has to get into politics. So if he wanted to be in Washington for that, I think.
Oh, true. Great point. Great point. Yeah, we don't know. And I feel like the world's really his oyster right now.
Yeah.
Like he could really go in so many different directions. And I like that he's been active. He's been out there. He's like, oh, I didn't just disappear, losers. He's like, I got my thing going on. Yeah, really curious to see where he'll land next because
this is the breakup where we know Masai is fine. It's us. It's the rest of us.
We're out here singing Adele, "Someone Like You," knowing we'll never find anyone like him again. Yeah. That's it. Stupid Rodgers. I'm sorry, I don't like the decision. I just don't like the decision. I'm not trying to
None of us do.
Hate the whole corporation, but I don't like the decision.
None of us do. None of us do.
It's true. All right. I was going to ask you a little bit about who to look out for Summer League. But we do have other Raptors Republic people covering that pretty extensively. This is more where we get into the philosophical gossip BS of basketball.
Get into the tea.
Get into the tea. Thank you. You get it, Vivek. Okay, so I think we're going to move on and talk about our Hottie highlights of the week. Okay, so we've got a few options for you, Vivek. One is very rumored that Klay Thompson is dating Megan Thee Stallion. So there's a photo of Megan posing by a pool as she does. And in the background, far in the background, people are like, wait, who's that guy? Zoom in. Looks like it's Klay Thompson. Now, today, he did a selfie. Well, not really a selfie, but like he took a photo of him holding like a can of beer on the beach or a bottle of beer on the beach, in the Bahamas. Now, was he poolside with Megan Thee Stallion in the Bahamas? Is he trying to show us low key, I'm not actually at a pool with her right now? Oh, actually, I'm totally dating her, but I'm just trying to throw off the scent a little bit here. Blah, blah, blah. Happy for Megan, sad for myself. That's option one. So now we have option two. Masai saying goodbye to Toronto, letting us know that he loves us and we're always going to have a special place in his heart. Sad, 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 but Hottie behavior. Then we have number three. We've got Pascal Siakam and Serge Ibaka hanging out, watching Real Madrid together. Oh, hard choices.
Very hard choices. I don't know if you remember, but this was quite some time back, but I think there's like this IG model and she tried DMing Klay Thompson or whatever. And then he was just like, it was something like, hey, I'm just looking for a wholesome woman to, be with me and my dog or something along those lines. So I'm not sure where Megan Thee Stallion fits in that.
In that looking for a wholesome woman to hang out with me and my dog. Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, R.I.P. Rocco. His dog passed away. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh no.
Yeah, his dog passed away a couple months ago.
I did not know about that. So maybe that changes things.
Yeah, now he's not looking for a wholesome woman anymore. Or maybe Megan's got... No, I don't think Megan has a wholesome...
He's been through
not in this stage in her life. No, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I feel like he's grieving. He's grieving his dog.
Maybe he's transitioned to a wholesome body.
Okay. Maybe.
Yeah. There you go. So that's one choice. Then so I just got to be honest. Like my bias is always going to, when you can make a basketball and soccer connection, I'm always going to be biased towards that. So
this is why we give the guest an option. Because obviously for me it's Klay, even though again I'm sad for myself, but it's fine.
And when I first started covering the Raptors and I got to know Pascal a bit, like we actually connected on talking about soccer, and that's how I got to know that he was that he was a Real Madrid fan. So we would talk about like playing FIFA and stuff like that, and him being a big Real Madrid fan. So to see him watching the Real Madrid game with Serge Ibaka as we're going through all the fields of Masai, I'm gonna have to go with Pascal and Serge.
But are you watching them like, oh, I wish they saved a seat for me. I wish I was there.
I do wish I was there. I wish I got a...
I mean, I don't watch soccer, but I also wish I was there.
Yeah, I mean,
they could mansplain the sport to me. That's always fun.
It was a sad experience for Pascal because PSG won 3-0. So
it wasn't a good game.
No. Real got their butt kicked. But
okay.
Hey, that's the way it goes sometimes.
Their Ronaldo days are behind them.
That's
who
true.
Played for the team, right? I'm not crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, all right. See, I knew one thing. And I've also seen that crazy statue that they made of Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
That was brutal. I think
both Ronaldos played for that team. The Brazil
There's another Ronaldo?
No. So this is now we're going into So there was
another Ronaldo.
The other Ronaldo is the OG Ronaldo. Like,
he's older.
If you talk to people from like the 90s, early 2000s, like he is the Ronaldo. Like they will refer to Portugal Ronaldo as Cristiano or CR7.
Okay.
Because the OG Ronaldo was crazy. And like he was until about, what are we at, 2025? So until about, I want to say 7 years ago, he was like the all-time World Cup leading scorer. He played for Real Madrid, did crazy things there, played for Barcelona, played for Inter Milan, like was just a crazy, insane player. And if not for injuries, he might be the GOAT.
Wow.
So yeah. So
who's your GOAT? Is it Messi?
So I feel like with GOATs, so I do think Messi. No, I was gonna say I feel like with GOATs, it's more of like an emotional attachment with me, and it's more about like who I grew up watching and stuff like that. So Ronaldo and Messi were kind of from that next generation that I watched. So I don't have as much of an emotional attachment. I have more of an emotional attachment to Ronaldo because he played for Manchester United, and that's my team. But I will admit that I do think Messi's just a better player. But my GOAT is Zidane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I like it. I like that you're like, no, this is an emotional pick and no one's talking me out of it.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's my pick.
Yeah, it's your pick and it will always be your pick.
Exactly. Who's your GOAT?
I don't know. I don't watch enough soccer to have a pick of any kind.
The next time you meet like a diehard Portuguese soccer fan, I want you to tell them that the OG Ronaldo is the GOAT. The Brazil Ronaldo is the GOAT.
Yeah, maybe I'll save that for like a future date or something.
There you go.
I'll be good. Okay, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much, Vivek, for joining me. Thank you, everyone, for listening and tuning in. We appreciate it so much. Please like, subscribe, leave a positive review, leave a comment. We always appreciate that. Vivek, let us know, what are you up to this summer? What can we look out for, and where can we find you on the internets?
So I'm doing a lot of stuff for Basketball Insiders and sportscasting. You can find a lot of my work there. Beyond that, in terms of Raptors content, you can find it at Raptors in 7 Substack. And I'm also currently hosting the Locked On Raptors podcast because Sean Woodley is away on dad duty. So,
right, he's on paternity leave.
Exactly.
Aww,
so that's what I was telling you, that you've got to come on the show sometime.
Yes, please.
But we will do that. And
I would love to anytime. I remember Sean had me on an episode a while ago and he's like, yeah, we're going to do this fun trivia thing. It's going to be like funny and stuff. And I was like, yeah, awesome. And then it's like June or something. And he's like, okay, on November 17th, which Raptor had like a 30-point game? And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, what in the trivia hell is this? How am I supposed to know that?
All right. I promise
I thought you were going to be like, who was our draft pick from this year or something like that. Not like, oh, this random game in November. It ended up being OG Anunoby. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to remember.
I promise you, even if I have a trivia, it will be a Raptors T-based trivia. Maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe that's what we'll do for the episode. I will just find all the most dramatic moments in Raptors history and ask you to...
Okay, yeah, that'd be fun. Or we could rank them. We could rank the most dramatic moments in Raptors history. There we go. That would be fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Okay.
My episode prep is done.
Anytime. Okay, well, thanks, everyone, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.